Hello, everybody. Hello everybody. Hello and welcome to that JRPG show. Thank you very much for joining. Thank you very much for attending to this. Thank you for caring and welcome once again. This is the JRPG show, my brand new show, my brand new podcast, live podcast, as I stated before in the community section. So, how are you guys? How are you people? How are you? These are going to be live sessions, like I said before. So welcome. Let's just wait for more people to join so we can properly start. And while that happens, let me give you a small introduction of what the hell is this. For those who didn't read the community section, this is, like I mentioned at the beginning, my brand new podcast. I've been meaning to do a podcast for quite some time now. A podcast that, to be honest with you, never happened before for one reason or another. Some of those reasons involve being in different places, like I was in Canada before, and before that I was living at my parents' house. So doing these types of shows was a bit of a pain for me because of the noise, because of the people living there, because of the location, because of the equipment, etc. But nowadays, a few weeks ago, I was like so into it. Like, I gotta make this happen. I'm gonna do this. So I'm gonna do this. And I did it. Here I am. And I'm surprised, when I was trying to come up with a name, I was like, how am I gonna call the show? The Erick Landon RPG podcast? I don't know, that sounded like... Don't know about you, but that didn't sound very well in my opinion. And I came up with the RPG podcast. Now there's something like that going on already. The JRPG podcast. I think this guy, Shadow Elite, already has a show called like that. So I was like, how the hell am I going to call my own podcast? And I shamelessly stole the idea from that metal show. Which shamelessly stole the idea from that 70s shows, I think. I'm not a fan of that 70s show, but I'm a fan of that metal show. If you don't know what that metal show is, I invite you to Google it or to look it up for YouTube. There are some people who have been uploading the episodes in low resolution because of copyright, but you can still watch them and get an idea on how some of my ideas will come from there. So I decided to call it that JRPG show. And I'm surprised no one has ever used that name before. No one. That JRPG show. So today I make it officially mine. It's not a trademark, but maybe soon it will be a trademark. Anyway, people, glad to have you all here. Thanks for joining. Let me explain how the podcasts will be from now on. How this will be. The reason I'm doing this is because you know how I often do vlogs in my channel, right? I do these videos where I just sit down and talk completely unscripted, but most of these vlogs are rehearsed, planned, and sometimes I make a lot of cuts during the editing to cut my fuck-ups or my mess-ups or my those times. And I've always wanted to go back to fully unscripted, fully improvised like I'm doing right now. I didn't rehearse this. Of course I have a few segments. Like I stated in the community section, I have a few segments that I'll be doing as a podcast. So of course there's still some planning to do, but most of this show is going to be improvised. It's just going to be me, the real me. And the difference between this and some of the Q&A sessions that I do is that during the Q&A sessions, I'm always, those 2 or 3 hours, I'm always answering your questions. And this is just going to be me discussing stuff. Now, I will have guests, all right? But we'll get to this later. First of all, this podcast is going to be weekly. Weekly, that's right, once a week. Now, when? I haven't decided because I do have a few problems here. Today, I decided to do this on Sunday, 12 p.m. Central Time. And I thought it was a good idea because Sunday is most people's day off. 12 p.m. is a good time for Americans, and for Europeans it's at night or evening. So I think it's the perfect day and the perfect time to do the podcast. However, it's Sunday. That means neighbors are all around, and sometimes they'll be here making noise and whatever. And also, it's a family day, as you very well know. And most people spend these days with their families, including me. I'm about to go to my family 2 hours from now on. So the thing is that I haven't completely decided if I'm going to be doing this podcast every Sunday at this very same hour. I probably will. I want to commit to this, but I don't know if I'll be able to. It works better for me on Tuesdays at 12 p.m., but I'm going to try to make it work on every Sunday. Either way, I will let you guys know in the community section. Please have a look at the community section in my YouTube channel. You can just click on my channel and the menus will appear there, right? Like home, videos, playlists, and there's one that says community. Just go there and I will be updating here. Now, about the guests. Yes, I'll have guests. This isn't just a regular audio-only podcast. It's going to be like this. Sometimes it will be live, depending on the guests, and sometimes it will be pre-recorded. Because if I'm going to have guests, I'm going to have people probably from all over the world. And not everybody is going to be able to attend at Sunday at 12 p.m. Central Time, right? It's not going to be possible. So some of these shows with guests are always going to be pre-recorded. Now mine, when I'm going to be here just alone, it's probably going to be live. But if I have the next Sunday very busy or impossible, I'm going to have to pre-record the show and I will premiere it on Sunday. What is a premiere is when I post the video and everybody can watch it real time and you can join in the chat like you are right now. So you can still chat and use the super chat and donate if you want to, etc. But it's not really live. Anyway, you've seen this propaganda here of my books. This is a book that is currently available on Amazon. For those who don't know, I am a writer, and I've been writing for many years. And this is a book that I published a long time ago, like almost 7 years ago. Jesus, no, like 6 years ago. Damn, it's been a while. Seven Shadows. I published it in Spanish, and then translated to English several years later. You can buy all of my books in English. You can buy them on Amazon.com. Thank you very much, Retroidvaniac, for your tip, for your donation, and for your support. Thank you very much. And this is a book that's currently only in Spanish. It's called Infierno Nix. The translation will be Nix Inferno. I'm planning on translating this book this very same year to English. And I'm so excited because this is honestly one of my best works. According to my fans here in Mexico who have read this book, it's their favorite. This is like the most popular book that I have here in Mexico. So it had to be that one, right? A lot of books in Spanish that need to be translated to English, but I'm going to give preference to this one because it's such a bizarre, extremely dark and bloody and gorish adventure. Extremely bizarre, a la David Lynch, but you'll see. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that, I'll be self-promoting my books. God damn it, why the hell not? Quite often in this podcast, so check that out. Anyway, guys, so what's up with the guests? I'm gonna have a guest once or twice per month. Why only twice? Why only once or twice? Well, it's because number one, I'm not that famous, okay? It's not like the entire YouTube gaming channels are dying to be here. Come on. And plus, I've developed a bit of a black sheep reputation when it comes to the website, when it comes to JRPG communities, because, I'm honest. I'm true to myself. I don't mince words. I'm me, and some people don't like that. And another thing is that I'm just not the most popular and most sociable guy, so I don't have a lot of contact with a lot of gaming channels. So that's why, and plus, like I said before, I kind of want to have my own space every once in a while. Here, podcast, just talk to you guys, hang out with you guys, answer your questions sometimes, and discuss topics that I usually don't discuss in my videos because, sensitive topics and the F-bombs, the cursing, the swearing, you get the idea. So I needed to do this. Okay, so I decided that once or twice per month, I'm going to have a guest. who are gonna be these guests, other YouTubers, other YouTube gaming channels. I'm gonna try to focus on bringing guests from RPG focused channels. Some of them have already been in this channel before. I've done collaborations with them, and some others I've talked to them already. I talked to them prior to doing this podcast. Hey, I'm starting my own podcast. Will you be interested in being a guest one day? And they said yes. So I have something solid to go on to really start off. So now, for those who didn't read the community post that I did yesterday, I should have posted that like a week ago, but this was very sudden. I was actually planning to do this podcast until next weekend, but I was like, you know what the hell, I'm dying to do this. I really want to do this, so let's just do it. So for those who missed the community post, this is how it's gonna work out. Every podcast will have several segments. The first segment is going to be an introduction. If I'm by myself, I'll just give you an overview on what the entire podcast is going to be about, on what the show is going to be about. These podcasts will last only 1 hour. You know, depending on how it goes later, it might be a little bit more, maybe an hour and a half, who knows, right? But for now, it's going to be just 1 hour. During this hour, it's going to be the introduction at the beginning. I'll give you an overview of what we're going to talk about, me by myself or me and my guest. And then, if my guest is here, I'll conduct a very small interview. I'll just ask the guest a few questions so you can familiarize with this guy or this girl and so on, in case you don't know the guest, of course. And then we're gonna do a top 5. I'll be doing tops in this very same show. That JRPG show includes tops. Of course, I'm a top guy. It's not gonna be top 10, but because discussing a top 10 will almost take the entire hour. Just small top 5s. Mostly about topics that I don't think they are very good ideas for a video. Like some of them might be good, but some of them involve talking about the same games over and over again that I've talked a million times before, or other topics are a little bit sensitive or are more interesting discussing them unscripted, like right now. Like I don't want to write a script for this particular top, so something like that. So that's why I want to do unscripted tops here. And I'll give you my top 5, of course, but when I have a guest, the dynamic is going to be different. I'm going to have my own top, and the guest or guests will have their own top, and then we're going to have to force ourselves to reach a consensus, like a definitive top 5 based on a consensus of both of us or the three of us, or how many people are there. So it's going to be pretty fun, you know, just arguing and discussing, and no, Chrono Cross needs to be number 1. And then the other guy, no, The Legend of Dragoon needs to be number 1. It's going to be fun. It's going to be really fun. Anyway, after the top 5, I'll talk about what I've been playing lately. This is something I never do. You know, a lot of you guys ask me regularly on the comment sections or on Discord or on Q&A sessions, like, what have you been playing lately? And I never talk about it. So I'm going to start talking about that now, what I'm currently playing as of the moment of the podcast. And if the guest is here, I'm going to ask the guest, what have you been playing, and so on. And then we'll discuss the main topic. Each podcast will have a main topic, one principal particular topic that we'll discuss. And then at the very end, we'll take, me by myself or with the guest or guests, 10 to 15 minutes to answer your questions. Now, to answer your questions, if we're live, if I'm live, or we're live, we'll just take questions straight from the chat right now. I mean, at the end of the podcast. And if it's pre-recorded, then you're gonna have to submit your questions in the community section, or if you're a part of my Discord channel, you can just ask your questions there. And of course, I'll give priority to the questions on Discord or on Patreon, because these people are paying money to support me, right? I'm gonna have to give them priority. But you can also submit your questions in the community section, and I'll just gather as many questions as I can, and I'll ask them to the guest or guests during the recording of the video. And that's it. That's the overall. That's what these podcasts or these shows are going to be about. Completely unscripted, just me, not even rehearsed, improvised, just, you know, natural, like this, honest, brutally honest, unscripted content. So, thank you very much for watching, people. Thanks for joining, and let's begin. Let's begin. All right, people. My top 5. Today's top 5. Today's top 5 is something a little bit controversial. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to be participating in the chat very actively because it's something that I just can't believe. With a lot of ports, remakes, re-releases, remasters, enhanced whatevers nowadays, there are still a lot of great kick-ass RPGs from the 90s and early 2000s that are nowhere to be seen. They are still exclusive to the systems. And I know what you're thinking. A system without exclusives isn't that attractive. Like nowadays, how many Switch are there? How many exclusives are there on the PS4, on the Switch, or on the Xbox One or the Xbox Series X? How many exclusives? Not too many, right? And when it comes to JRPGs, they used to be exclusive to their systems, specifically in PlayStation consoles or if they were a first-party Nintendo consoles. But nowadays, it's like most JRPGs are in every console and it's a mess all around. And it's a mess that I actually like. I don't know about you, but I like having several different options to play the games. Sometimes games used to be PC exclusive and they were ported to consoles, or they would just they remain exclusive to the Xbox 360 and then a remaster happened, or they were multi-consoles, right? Some games were released on the 360 or the PS3 and PC, so there were 3 platforms to play these games. But today's top 5 is about RPGs that are still exclusive to the system and they haven't been ported, remastered, remade, nothing. Sure, there are some re-releases, digital re-releases on the PlayStation Network, maybe, or the eShop, but that's it. I mean, come on. These games that I'm about to mention today, I think in my opinion they need a port, a good port, not just a digital re-release, no, a good port, enhanced port, remaster, remake, whatever you want. I'll give what exactly do these games need in my opinion. So, I see people asking about the Discord link. That's exclusive. You gotta join my Patreon page. You gotta join the Patreon page for $3 a month, and you get instant access to the Discord private chat that I have with my people. Very good community, as a matter of fact. Open-minded, honest, and no bullshit there. Just honest, and I'm active there. I'm me in there. Anyway. Alright, people. Today's top 5 is exclusive PlayStation 1 RPGs that need to be ported or remade or remastered. These games, the only way to play them is on the PlayStation 1. You can emulate them, or some of these have been re-released on the PlayStation Network, on the PS3, I think, or the PSP or PS Vita, but that's just it. That's not what we need. I mean, we need like a port. Maybe not a physical port. Well, maybe I do need a physical port because I'm a collector, but a physical release, like a port, a remake, remaster, whatever. And yes, some of these options that I have right here with me, I guess are a little bit predictable, but you're gonna have to forgive me about that. We can agree these ones needed the most. Skycatcher Gaming, thank you very much, buddy. Thank you very much for your support, for your donation, and your tip. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Alright, guys. So, several RPGs on the PlayStation 1 have been ported already. Valkyrie Profile got a PSP port. Final Fantasy Tactics got a PSP port, and I think it's on mobile devices already. Star Ocean 2, even Star Ocean 2 got a PSP port. Some of these RPGs were ported to the PSP, including Suikoden 1 and 2. Believe it or not, Suikoden 1 and 2 were ported to the PSP back in 2008. But only in Japan! Yeah! Bravo, Konami! Just stay in Japan. Keep everything in your fucking country. What a bunch of assholes, man, Konami. We should have gotten that port. The PSP port, a collection of Suikoden 1 and 2 on the PSP, man. Enhanced ports. They're not just, straight re-releases. There's a physical release on the PSP for Suikoden 1 and 2. But yeah, Konami. You know the drill, right? Breath of the Wild Thank you very much, my friend. Really appreciate it, man. Thank you very much for your donation. Alright, let's get down to it, right? Guys, number one, it's pretty damn obvious. It's a game that's been going on forever. You know, everybody's been asking Sony, please port, remaster, remake, whatever, anything. Give us anything for modern systems. Are you fucking kidding me, Sony? And that is The Legend of Dragoon. This is a game, this is my number 5. It may not be among my all-time favorite RPGs on the PlayStation, but I'm dying to see something on this game. This is a game that got a lot of love back then, specifically in North America. This game got no love in Japan at the beginning. Can you believe that? It was like, Japanese were like, I like the game, it's good, but whatever. But, you know, in North America, this was a huge thing. And Sony spent a lot of money to promote this game, to develop this game. The CGI cutscenes, you watch the CGI cutscenes here and they're top notch. There's a lot of money in there, you can tell. But anyway, it was a huge deal. It was supposed to become a franchise, like a media franchise. It was supposed to have a manga, anime, you know, everything, and a sequel and a prequel and whatever. Nothing happened. Sony gave the world the middle finger, maybe because it wasn't never released in Japan. I don't know. I mean, it was released in Japan, but maybe because it wasn't that successful in Japan, in its country of origin. Maybe that has something to do with it. Jun, thank you very much. So The Legend of Dragoon, I don't care if you remake it, remaster it, just port it, just do something with this game, goddammit. PlayStation 5, imagine this game, physical release of this game in the PlayStation 5 or the PlayStation 4. Maybe the Switch too, right? Okay, my next one, number 4, is, it's not that obvious. It's more of a hidden gem, like an obscure game. Not that obscure. I think it's one of those games that are between being underrated or hidden gem. Like, I don't know if it's popular enough to merit the term underrated or hidden gem or whatever you guys decide. But this is one of my all-time favorites. I've talked about this game a million times in this channel, and this is a game that's also exclusive to the PlayStation. I think it was re-released digitally on the PlayStation Network, and that's it. That's Vandal Hearts. Vandal Hearts is a must-play for every single strategy RPG lover out there. This is a game that I can't believe it didn't get more love, considering it's by Konami. Konami developed this game. Yeah, fuck Konami, we all hate Konami. But back then, we didn't hate Konami, did we? It was a great company. The late 90s where Konami was still the shit. It was one of the best video game companies out there. Thank you, Rem, thank you very much. So Vandal Hearts is a game that I truly believe it needs it most. It needs a remake or maybe not a remake, a port, a remaster or whatever for modern systems. Maybe more than all the others because all the others are already popular games. And this one is just not as popular. One of the main reasons why this game didn't get a lot of popularity, I believe, this is only my opinion, might be because it's not an anime-style RPG. You know, the characters aren't pretty, there's no magical, beautiful girls. You know, nothing of the sort. It's not anime styled. It's still Japanese, but it's not manga styled. And the characters do look ugly, but I don't know, I like them. I like the look. I like the design of this game. It's awesome, and the strategy missions, the map design missions, I've always said it in my videos, are brilliant. You know, almost every single mission is very different. It's not just kill all enemies. You know, like in most Fire Emblem, I'm a die-hard fan of Fire Emblem, but you know, that's the truth about Fire Emblem. It's all about kill everybody or survive. And Vandal Hearts is like every mission you gotta do something different. I love that about that game. It needs support, remake, remaster, whatever. But if you're gonna do a remake of Vandal Hearts, please, for the love of God, don't change the battle system. My number 3, everybody. Number 3 is a game that everybody knows. It tried to make survival horror with RPG, and it succeeded. Created a masterpiece. My only gripe with this game is that it's too damn short. It could have been a little bit longer, maybe 15 to 20 hours long, but you can beat this game in like 10 hours. Yeah, let's go to the chase, shall we? Parasite Eve, fantastic game. Too bad its sequels were kind of mediocre. I think it's a franchise that died because of its sequels. They killed the franchise. Even people in Japan were like, okay, I like your game on the PSP, that freaking third birthday, which, you know, as an action third-person shooter with RPG elements, it's pretty good. But as a Parasite Eve, it's bad. I mean, that's not Parasite Eve. This is Parasite Eve, the real Parasite Eve. And this is a game that, can you believe it? It's still exclusive on the PlayStation. There's nothing else. No PS2, PS3, PS4, nothing, no port, no remake, no remaster. And it's a Squaresoft RPG. But you know Square Enix, they hate me already. I don't want to give them more shit anymore. So, alright, Square Enix, do whatever you want. Just, Parasite Eve, come on. Number two is a game that, like Legend of Dragoon, is probably the one RPG on the PlayStation that needs it the most. We fans are so desperate to get something out of this game. A port, remake, remaster, anything. Give us something, Squaresoft. Xeno Gears, of course. It's very obvious. I can't believe these games. How come games like Final Fantasy and some games that are... I think Xeno Gears sold more copies. Legend of Dragoon and Xeno Gears sold way more copies than Star Ocean The Second Story or Valkyrie Profile or even Suikoden 1 and 2. And those games got a port on the PSP at the very least. And Xeno Gears didn't. I understand there might be some kind of dispute. I mean, the rights of this game are owned by Square Enix, but the developer is still Monolith Soft. And Monolith Soft is like the competition of Square Enix nowadays. Xenoblade Chronicles became so freaking popular that Square Enix is like, okay, hats down. I acknowledge it. You're kicking our asses. So Xeno Gears, considering it has a lot to do with Xenoblade Chronicles, this is just my theory. I mean, I don't have any evidence of this. It's just one of my crazy-ass hypotheses. But it might be one of the reasons why Square Enix hasn't touched this game for many years and decided to bury it in the ground because of the term Xeno. And people will immediately associate this with Xenoblade, considering the popularity. So... And this game was never released in Europe. I think that there's a digital re-release for the PlayStation Network. I don't know if it's in Europe or not, but this game was not released in Europe. What the hell, Square? What the hell? Xeno Gears? Really? I think Parasite Eve, I think it didn't get one either. Was Parasite Eve released in Europe? I don't think so, right? Same as this guy, my number one, obviously. I had to pick my favorite RPG of all time, right? Chrono Cross. Chrono Cross, no need to explain this game, you guys know it. I don't think, I've said this before, maybe a game like Xeno Gears, Parasite Eve, hell, even The Legend of Dragoon might need a remake. This doesn't need a remake. This is, in my opinion, perfection. There's nothing wrong with this game. An enhanced port, maybe, a remaster, make it look, beautiful, more prettier, or fix some very small things, maybe, rebalance the difficulty because it's very hard. But that's it. It doesn't need a remake. Please, Square, do not remake this game. Just, re-release it or, a port, an enhanced port. How about a Chrono Collection? And include a translated version of Radical Dreamers. Yeah, it's a visual novel, but, it's an interactive visual novel. And people, add Radical Dreamers as if it was some kind of like an extra feature, an unlockable feature, beat both games and you unlock Radical Dreamers, something like that. So Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross need to be in a collection. But then again, it's probably not going to be possible because you Chrono Trigger purists hate this game. So you don't want that to happen. You want your real Chrono Trigger too. So maybe Squaresoft, maybe Square Enix is very well aware of that. They're like, putting these games together in a collection, maybe it's not a good idea because the fans of each game hate each other. Anyway, yeah. We can all agree at the very least that we need a new Chrono game, right? Whatever, no port, no remake, no remaster, no collection, okay, give us a new Chrono game. Chrono whatever, Chrono Break. Chrono Break was a trademark, but it ended like 6 years ago, I believe. 7 years ago, something like that. Yeah. A new Chrono game at the very least. Anyway, people, this is my top 5. What is yours? I sure picked a lot of really popular titles. I was actually going to go for obscure exclusive RPGs on the PS1 that need more love, but you guys are very well acquainted with this. If I had gone with the obscure games, you will be like, what kind of game is that? And I'm not showing any gameplay right now because this is live. You know, there's no editing here. I'm not showing any gameplay, so you will always be like, okay, here's talking about Vanguard Bandits. Fuck is Vanguard Bandits? That's why I didn't pick obscure games. I went with the popular because these are the ones that needed the most. We can all agree these games, something needs to be done about these games. Sequel, remaster, remake, prequel, whatever, something. Anyway, people, that's it. And let's jump now to what I've been playing. Today's topic is also related to PlayStation RPGs. There's something very controversial that I've been reading in social media, and we'll get to that later. Let me tell you what I've been playing nowadays. First of all, thank you for joining once again. Buy my books. My books in English are in Amazon. All of them, including this baby here. My latest book, the one that's always in the description of my videos. The Reaper's Thorn. Yeah, completely in English, very historically important for me. This is the best book I've ever written. Link in the description below. On Amazon you can get the physical version of this book or the digital version for $3 if you want to. The Reaper's Thorn is a magnificent book, I dare say. Very gothic, takes place during the 19th century, and it's very dark, very twisted, somewhat psychological, somewhat philosophical, etc. This is my masterpiece, my best work so far, in my opinion. The Reaper's Thorn, available on Amazon. And soon in Mercado Libre, soon, for those who live in Mexico. Anyway, guys, what have you been playing lately? What? Ys 9? Are you playing Ys 9? Because I'm not. I'm not playing Ys 9 because, like I've said a million times before, in several videos and several Q&A sessions and even my streams, I never buy something on first day. Never. They're too expensive. I mean, how much is Ys 9? $80? $80 is a lot of money. Maybe it might be to you who live in a first world country, but for us who live in a second world country or a third world country, $80 is a lot of money. And I'm always like, in 6 months it's probably gonna be $60 or maybe $50. Sure, it's an Ys game, it's still an Ys game. That means it's gonna be rare. All Ys games turned out to be rare after a while. Every single one of them. So might as well get them while you still can, right? So I'll get Ys. I'll pay top dollar for it, but I'm not gonna pay $80. I'm just gonna wait for a little bit. Maybe a promotion, maybe some kind of a sale. Maybe $60, maybe $50. Shut up and take my money. So no, I'm a huge Ys fanboy and I haven't played Ys 9, only the demo. Now, what have I been playing lately? Alright, so about 3 weeks ago, I believe. 3 weeks ago, I finished this game. This is Ultra Despair Girls. It's part of the Danganronpa series, but this is not a visual novel like the Danganronpa games. This is an action game, a third-person shooter, and a hack and slash at the same time, because you control 2 characters the entire game, and one character shoots with a megaphone. I'm not kidding. And the other one has her sisters, Toko. She's a classic character from the first Danganronpa, famous character. The other character, I forgot her name, Naegi. Komaru, this character, she's just a brand new character, and she's the sister of the main character in the first game. This game, people, is very good. I loved it. I finished it like 3 weeks ago, and I loved it. Criminally underrated. People overlook this game because it's not a visual novel like the Danganronpa games, because it's considered more of a spin-off. It takes place between the Danganronpa 1 and 2. Do you need to play them to understand this one? Not really. I've never played the first one. I own the first one, and I've never played it, so I understood everything. Sure, there are some parts of the plot here and there that do involve events from the first game, and they kind of spoil the game, but you know what? There's an anime. Danganronpa, the first game, I think it's very similar to the anime series. I watched the anime series, so I understood almost everything there is to understand this game. So watch the anime series or play the first Danganronpa. but you don't really have to. This game is almost standalone. It's also on the PlayStation 4 and PC. I don't know if it's on PC, but I'm pretty sure it's also on the PlayStation 4. Very good game, guys. Extremely cynical, very original. The story is like no other. You will play this game and you'll be like, what the fuck? But, more like, what the fuck smiling? This is really cool, bizarre. Great game. Yeah, great game, people. And then, after I beat that game, I went back to a game that I put 10 hours in this game a long time ago and never went back to it. This was when I was building my PlayStation Vita videos. Remember, that was a long time ago when I was trying to come up with a hidden gems video for the PlayStation Vita. And I played this game. It was one of the first. It was one of the first games that I played on the Vita. And I also, it's also one of those games that I put more hours into while creating those videos. And but now I have the PlayStation 4 version. I think this is a gift from Rem. Thank you very much, Rem, if you're still watching. And this is Tokyo Xanadu, the EX Plus, the one with here we go. An extra side story, an epilogue, new playable characters including White Shroud. He's the only new playable character. Time attack and boss rush modes, because this is an action RPG. This is basically, I've talked about this game recently. It's basically a Persona clone, but action RPG. Like with a battle system that's a little bit like the Ys games. And it's a kick-ass battle system. This game has extremely good gameplay. Like I said in the video, the story is just fucking garbage, man. It's no Persona. Persona is, it may be extremely stereotyped. All the cliches are there. It's a very well-developed story. It goes dark. It explores psychological issues. It's Persona. The Persona writing is great, right? But not this. This is not a terrible story, but it's just a bad story ripoff of the Persona series. I still recommend it, though. I still recommend the game. If you're into the modern high school settings with extremely over-stereotyped characters, like seriously, the writers didn't miss a single cliche. Every single cliche in the book is here. Every single stereotype. And there's a lot of idle bullshit. I already bitched about this game in that video, and I quit. I didn't finish this one. I was like 21 hours into it when there's a mission, small spoilers. There's a mission where you gotta go, let's just say it involves rescuing the idol. I was like, fuck this. So, be warned. That's what the game is about. If that's your jam, idol, J-pop, high school student stereotypes, you're gonna love this game. But I'm not into that, so it hurts because the battle system is so amazing, but the story was killing me. And the one game that I beat just yesterday is this. Yes, I know, you're saying like, what the hell is this? This is Crystar, developed by a new company called Gem Drops. I don't know what else they have developed. Published in Japan by Furyu and in North America by Spike Chunsoft. This is a very good game. The characters look like lolis because they are a little bit super deformed, but they aren't lolis. There are, 15, 16-year-old girls. So they aren't exactly, your average 12-year-old loli saving the world. And this is not about saving the world. It's so dark. Then the main character's sister dies, and she goes into the purgatory. She makes a pact with two demons to fight, revenants and ghosts and specters in the purgatory in order to acquire a lot of things, magic. Let's just call magic to avoid spoilers, to save her sister. And then she meets other characters, other girls who are also in purgatory for their own reasons. But it's a game that it's dark, it's gothic styled, as a matter of fact. Don't take this game too seriously, so you can properly enjoy the story and the plot. It goes darker and darker. The deeper you go, the darker it becomes. At the beginning, the first several hours, you're like, the story's not that great. But then as you progress, it pulls you in. It's a very good story, and it's an action RPG, and the action is very good. As a matter of fact, it's not easy. It's fast-paced, but the controls feel more rigid, thick, not clunky. Just like a little bit technical. but you can still beat the crap out of your enemies, you know. It's fast-paced as well. Not in the easy level, but fast-paced. Don't sleep on this game, guys. I know it's very hard to find nowadays. This is the PAL version, another gift from Rem. Thank you very much, Rem. And I think it's a game that's currently kind of hard to find, kind of expensive. But if you can get a good deal on this one, do not sleep on this. It's very good. This is one of those games like this, you know, this is like the definition of a hidden gem. Sometimes when I make my hidden gems videos, I include games that are mostly well known. Like in a PlayStation 1 hidden gems video, I included Alondra. Alondra is not exactly hidden, but it's not exactly mainstream, right? It's more like in the middle. But these games are obscure. They are the perfect definition. Obscure and very unknown and very good. Anyway, Crystar. It's on PlayStation 4 and Steam. I believe on PC and Steam. And that's what I've been playing lately. I finished Crystar yesterday and I haven't played anything since then. Today I'll probably choose my next game. I haven't decided. I'll probably go with something obscure on the PlayStation 3. I haven't touched the PlayStation 3 in a while, but you know, who knows what I'll pick for today. Alright people, time to move on to today's topic. It's going to be a short 10-minute discussion because, you know, it took me a lot of time to explain what the podcast is going to be about. And these were really interesting topics to talk about, the PlayStation Top 5 and all that jazz. Thank you, Miami Sunrise. Thank you very much, buddy. I want to talk about, today's topic is about PlayStation 1 RPGs. But it's a little bit controversial. And it's something that I've read on social media. I've seen comments here and there, including my videos and some other people's videos. And I've also seen this on several social media websites. And it seems like a lot of people are starting to say that PlayStation RPGs, well, pretty much PlayStation games at all, but we're going to discuss RPGs here. Because a lot of you are PlayStation fanboys just like me. So when I read this, every time I read something like this, I gotta admit, I was a little bit hurt. You know, I was like, fuck. People say PlayStation RPGs are, some of them, outdated and overrated. And some of these people have explained their reasons. And I gotta say, you know, some pretty valid points of view there, some truths in there. Well, you know, we were talking about this, that these games need a port or a remake or whatever, right? You know, a game like Chrono Cross to me is perfection, right? So let's not use that as an example. Let's use Xeno Gear as an example. Is it outdated? Is it overrated? You play this game today. If you've never played this game before and you didn't grow up with PlayStation RPGs like most of us did, I can see why a game like this will be outdated. The story's fantastic. Don't fucking touch the story. The battle system is amazing. Don't fucking touch the battle system. But you guys gotta admit, I love this game to pieces like all of you, but you guys gotta admit, the navigation in this game, the dungeons, the random encounters, I love this game, but fuck that. So when these people say it's outdated or overrated, it's like, it hurts. But it might just be. Not for you, maybe. Maybe not for me either. I love this game. I can put up with this game's camera bullshit and I'm gonna hate it and I'm gonna rant and rage, but I'm gonna enjoy it, right? But other people, I can see why they're not going to enjoy exploring these fucking dungeons, the fucking sewers in this game, and getting into random encounters and getting lost. It has annoying exploration. I agree with that. It's not the only game. You know, the same has been said about Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VIII. Final Fantasy VIII, you know what happened. You guys know what happened with that game. 20 years ago, masterpiece. Everybody loves it. Oh, Final Fantasy VIII blew my mind. One of the best RPGs on the PlayStation. And nowadays, the exact opposite. People hate the game. People dislike it. The battle system this. The story's trashed. Blah, 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 blah. They hate. Final Fantasy VIII has become one of the most hated RPGs. It hurts me a little because I'm a fan of the game. I don't absolutely adore the game, but I think it's an excellent game still, even with that battle system. So what's going on? What's going on with this, I don't want to call this new generation, but this new thinking. You know what I think? I think social media and influencers like me, but I never try to influence people. Sure, I say, play this game, love it, it's a masterpiece, blah, 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 but I always tell you to have your own opinion. I'm not gonna get mad if somebody comes at me and says, you know, I played the game and I fucking hated the game. I'm not gonna take offense. I'm not gonna be offended, right? If you don't like the game, that's cool. If you want to explain your reasons, cool. If you don't want to, I'll respect that. I don't get mad. But a lot of influencers and a lot of people in social media with influence, they do take offense. They do take offense when you say something like that. So when people say that RPGs on the PlayStation are overrated, you know, I can't exactly argue, because right now a lot of people who grew up with the PlayStation, like some of you, like most of you grew up with the PlayStation, because I've seen my analytics in YouTube and my audience, my bigger audience, extremely bigger audience. It's like a 70% of the people who watch my videos, my content, are between 25 and 35. Well, more like 28 and 40. People who grew up with the PlayStation, with PlayStation RPGs. So it hurts, you know, when people saying, how can you call this classic? This is a revolutionary RPG. Final Fantasy VII might be extremely overrated. Whatever you say, Final Fantasy VII, but it's revolutionary. It's a revolutionary RPG, and people are calling them overrated and outdated. It pisses you off, right? But at the same time, it makes you think it's the same thing everywhere you go. I mean, people saying, you know, Persona 5, wow, it's a masterpiece. The Souls, Dark Souls is the best RPG, the best thing that's ever happened. And if you say something about that, they hate you, they criticize you, they insult you, whatever. And that's when you start saying, you know what, I'm sorry, but these games are overrated. So the problem with influencers and the social media influence is precisely that they are not open-minded, that these people are just trying to force their opinions on you, saying, you know what, Final Fantasy VII is a masterpiece, and if you don't like it, fuck you, you're an idiot. So how can you not say, I'm sorry, but it's overrated? Look how exactly you are reacting. So that's what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to justify, you know, these people saying these games are overrated, because I love them. You know, if somebody calls Chrono Cross overrated, I don't take offense, I don't feel anything, you know? I'm not a butt-hurt fanboy, but, you know, it's like, why are you saying that, right? And I'm not saying they're right or wrong. I'm saying they are opinions, perspectives. And it's precisely, this is something that I've debated a long time since I started this channel. I remember doing a video like 3.5 years ago about video game elitism, and I did another one called Gamers Are Destroying, or Fanboys Are Destroying the Gaming Community. And I made my point in there. Of course, I didn't criticize these games. I love them as much as some of you do. But I tried to explain on how social media and fan bases turn into fanatics, blindfolded fanatics. And that's how games become overrated. And I'm sorry, guys, but I don't think these games are overrated, don't worry. But I do see why some people call them overrated. It's because some of you and a lot of PlayStation fanboys out there just can't accept any criticism towards these games. Your games aren't perfect. If you love them, that doesn't make them an objective masterpiece. So, It's just the fans, man. I like fans. If you're a die-hard fan of Xenoblade Chronicles, that's good. You know, good. I'm so happy you like that game. Give support to Monolith Soft. It's an amazing company. But, you know, just don't try to force your love for Xenoblade Chronicles or for PlayStation 1 RPGs to everybody. Just if you meet somebody who doesn't like, I've met several people who don't like Chrono Cross. They fucking hate the game. And I'm okay with that. So you see, that's my point. They get to, you know, they take things too personal too. You know, I haven't read the comments in the Final Fantasy Tactics video that I did. For some reason, it went slightly viral. It's still getting a lot of views today. Good for me, right? But it wasn't my intention. My intention with the Final Fantasy Tactics video was not to criticize Final Fantasy Tactics. It was just to tell people, hey, Stop giving all the credit. Give some credit to the game, because Final Fantasy Tactics is a very historically important game, but it wasn't the first. Other games influenced it and came before and deserve more attention. Just give credit, give the real credit Tactics deserve, not the wrong credit. That's all I said. And I haven't read the comments in the video, but I can almost smell the hatred. So, in conclusion, I personally don't think most of these games are overrated, but I can see why some people are starting to say they're outdated and overrated. Outdated because some of them are kind of hard to play. I get it. I love it, but I understand why. And, that's why maybe they need a port or a remake to have modern people who don't want to play the originals experience this amazing story, this amazing soundtrack, right? But with gameplay mechanics that are friendlier, that are not as well, enough about that. You get the idea. Lone Revolver, thank you very much. All right, people. This is the final segment of the podcast. I'm gonna start answering your questions. Ask whatever you want. I'll answer your questions for the next 10 minutes. And just shoot. I'm gonna give preference to Lone Revolver. He donated $5 and he asks, which PS1 RPG do you believe is overrated? Oh, speaking about this, well, most of these aren't, like Xeno Gears, Cross, Dragoon, Parasite. I don't think they're overrated. The one RPG on the PlayStation that I do think it's overrated, well, I think it's it used to be Final Fantasy VII, but ever since the remake and ever since this new mentality came about people, calling these games overrated, I've been like, I've noticed that it's a game that I love Final Fantasy VII, the original, as much as you do, but it's overrated. My pick, but I think Final Fantasy VII has finally been put in its place. Like it's not on a silver plate anymore. Like a lot of people hate the game and call it overrated and don't like it and whatever. So I wouldn't call Final Fantasy VII overrated anymore. So, but because of what happened with my Final Fantasy Tactics video, I think that's gonna be my pick. Final Fantasy Tactics is a fantastic game. Don't take me wrong. I don't love it, but I see the love for it. I see the revolutionary quality of the game. The gameplay mechanics, the story is fucking amazing. The music, oh my god. But I think it's very overrated because of its fans. That's my pick. It hurts. Nothing against the game, don't worry. I can tell you, and you guys know it, I'm honest. If I can call a game like Final Fantasy 13 overrated, and I fucking dislike it. I don't hate it, but I dislike it. I'll take you on. But Final Fantasy Tactics, I don't think I can say anything against it. Just the fact that it's very overrated. Final Fantasy 9 overrated? Dude, Final Fantasy... I mentioned Final Fantasy 7 and Final Fantasy Tactics. I think all Final Fantasy games are overrated. Every single one of them. Let's just leave it at that. All of them are overrated. Except Final Fantasy 5. I think it's underrated. Which Shin Megami Tensei game is overrated? Nocturne, probably. I love Nocturne. I really do. I never finished the game, but I love it. I mean, I love it enough that I make a video about it. 10 things you didn't know about Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne. But Nocturne tends to... the entire Shin Megami Tensei fanbase tends to have a lot of elitists. A lot of really annoying people. A bunch of assholes that think themselves superior because they play the intellectual games and the hard as hell games. So, yeah. I think all Shin Megami Tensei games are... most of them are overrated. But most specifically Nocturne. Well, I love it anyway. Okay. Give me one moment. Juan asks, what PS2 RPG in your opinion doesn't get talked about very much, but is a personal favorite in your eyes? Grow Lancer, the very same game I'm currently streaming. I forgot to mention that, when I was talking about the games that I'm currently playing. I forgot about Grow Lancer. I'm streaming the whole game. You know how I rarely stream full games? I only stream like the first 2 hours of one RPG and then on the next stream I move on to another? Well, this year I decided to stream the whole game Grow Lancer 5, Heritage of War on the PlayStation 2. That's my pick, Juan. But you know, with the PlayStation 2, half of the library are games that no one talks about, and some of them really deserve the attention. Star Wars Timeline, thank you very much for your donation, buddy. Imagine you own a game studio. What RPG will you create? Talk about battle mechanics, story, and setting, graphical style. Oh, it's interesting you asked me that. I made a video about that. I think it was called This is what my RPG, my dream RPG will be like. And it's an entire video based on how my dream RPG will be like. If I had a studio, that's exactly how I'll make an RPG. I will probably make a grid-based strategy RPG with mechanics a little bit similar to Fire Emblem, because I'm a Fire Emblem diehard fan. The story will be dark as hell, gothic style, gothic themed, and with metal music, industrial metal music, dark music, not the classic, 18th century music they usually put in gothic games. No, I will put freaking 9 Inch Nails, man. I will ask Trent Reznor, make the music for my video game, man. And graphic, I'm not a graphics guy, right? I don't really care about the graphics. As long as it looks okay, it's okay. I don't want Square Enix graphics, I don't care about that. Just give me some, PlayStation 2 or maybe PlayStation 3 graphics. That's all. Just not the Fire engine. Maybe Unity or Unreal, but not the Fire engine Falcom uses. I mean, it was good for a PlayStation 3, but they kept using it over and over again. Do you think an underrated RPG can become popular? Sure. Actually, I have a video. Well, this video is gonna take a while. I want to do this. I want to do this video specifically after a series of videos that I'm planning. I'm gonna talk about games that are no longer hidden gems. They used to be hidden gems, but a lot of YouTubers, a lot of you guys have recommended these games. Word, mouth to mouth, these games became kind of popular. A perfect example of your question is Radiant Historia. Radiant Historia used to be a hidden gem. Nobody knew about it. And that was like 5 years ago, 4. Nowadays, it's somewhat of a popular game. So it's not exactly underrated anymore. It finally got the attention it deserved. So yeah, you get the idea. I'm gonna make a video about that. Games that used to be hidden gems but are not anymore. Kanda Man, thank you very much, buddy. Do you think Final Fantasy should have stayed turn-based? Yes, I sound like a purist, I know, but yes. Dragon Quest stayed turn-based. Why not Final Fantasy? Square Enix should have done, they did do a lot of spin-offs. The Crystal Chronicles series, for example, and they were action RPG. If you want to make your action RPG so bad, okay, use it for your spin-offs. But the main titles, in my opinion, should have remained turn-based. Even the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Why do you, Yeah, Radiant Historia, amazing game. Amazing game, man. What JRPGs would you recommend that have a dark story? I have like 2 or 3 videos on that. Check out the RPGs to play on Halloween, and check out the darkest, RPGs I ever played. There are several videos that I've done about that. Several good recommendations. This is a very good example. One of the darkest stories ever. Another very good example is Vandal Hearts. But if you're asking dark as in gothic or something like that, play Eternal Poison on the PS2. I don't think Nier is gothic, but yeah, maybe a little bit. What games are in the thumbnail? I put 2 characters in there. One is this guy, and the other one is Rose from The Legend of Dragoon. Right, people, last questions. I should have given, 20 minutes of questions, but it took me a long ass time. You know me. I talk about games and I can take forever. I just keep going and going. Keeps me going, I should. This is exactly why I wanted this space, to do this podcast, to talk about games. I always restrain myself when I do videos. And in the Q&A sessions, I'm always answering questions. Anyway, last questions. Thoughts on sagas in the Saga series? I'm not the biggest fan, so I don't have a very good opinion on the Saga games. Though I do love Romancing Saga, the remake of the first Romancing Saga game on the PlayStation 2. Or if you want to send me Is 9, you want to gift that game to me? Oof, I'm open arms, man. Yeah, just send me a message on Facebook. Which JRPG only released in Japan should get a Western release? Zero no Kiseki and Ao no Kiseki. Wow, I didn't even have to think about it. Valkyria Chronicles 3. Those are like, what the fuck is going on? Like, come on, Falcom. Falcom has made all of us fans of the Trail series, and Trails of Zero and Trails of Azure are still Japan only. Ah! JRPG you regret never beating? Oh, Final Fantasy VIII or Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne. Those are the ones I regret the most not beating. I never beat the Raido Kusunoha games on the PlayStation 2, the Devil Summoner games, neither of them. I made it very far. I have like 20 something hours on each, and I never beat them, and I do regret them. Have you played Rule of Rose? Yes, very expensive game on the PlayStation 2. It used to be the Holy Grail until Konami's Kuon took over. I mean, no, not Konami. Kuon is made by From Software. I've never played Kuon, but Rule of Rose I did play it, and it's good. I don't think it's that great. It's a good game, an average, a C tier. Do you prefer to play in Spanish or English? I play everything on English. Should Time and Eternity get a remake for PS5? Definitely. You know, fix everything, change the whole story, change the characters, make another game. Do you avoid Atelier Ryza because it's too bubbly and waifu? No, I own the original game on the PlayStation 4. I'm not the biggest Ryza fan because I like my turn-based battles. The battle system in Ryza was great, but it gives me a lot of pressure, you know, being with real-time and turn-based at the same time. But I do think it's a good game, and someday I'll play Ryza 2, but I've never beaten the original. Have you played Fell Seal? Fell Seal Arbiter's Mark, isn't that the game by Yasuno Matsuno? The guy who made Final Fantasy Tactics and Tactics Ogre? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't played it. Should Eternal Sonata get a port remaster? Yes! I mean, it's both on the PlayStation 3 and the 360. That's okay, but a port of that magnificent game, it's such an underrated game, man, Eternal Sonata. Definitely a port on the PlayStation 4, 5, or Switch. Definitely. Can you put this Trail series as dark? Nah. They do have some dark stuff here and there, the Trails series, but nah. No way, man. Very good stories, but not dark? Nah. Best fan service RPG? I don't know. The Artonelico games? Or anything compile hard? Do you think the JRPG genre is declining? No! Quite the opposite. I think it's thriving, and it's been thriving for the past 20 years. I think it's the opposite. It's not declining, it's thriving like hell, man. Are you a completionist? Trophy hunter? Nah. I've completed several games like Chrono Cross, Valkyrie Profile 2, Devil Survivor, Grow Lancer, Heritage of War. But no, I don't really complete, you know, or trophy hunters or platinum games. I don't platinum anything nowadays. Do you consider Lost Odyssey a hidden gem? Nah. I think it's one of the most popular games, most popular RPGs on the 360. I don't think it's a hidden gem. Maybe it's not extremely mainstream like Final Fantasy or Souls, you know, and other games on the 360. But I think it got a lot of recognition. Do you intend to purchase a PS5? Nah. I'll probably purchase a PS5 when it's like, I don't know, $300, maybe $400. Nah, I'm gonna be lagging behind PlayStation 5 players a hell of a lot. I have no interest on the PS5 especially because nowadays they haven't announced anything that I care about, relevant to me. Last questions. Do you think Breath of Fire deserves a new game? Yes. I think it does. Breath of Fire 5 was a failed experiment, but it's okay. Every series has it. Breath of Fire 6 was mobile garbage, exclusive to Japan, that nobody cared about, nobody played, nobody liked. So we do need a new Breath of Fire. Breath of Fire 7 will be amazing. Do you think Tri-Ace is dead? No, I don't know what's up with them, what's going on with them. They aren't dead. Maybe they are secretly developing a new game. Who knows? Alright, last question. Will you ever talk about your favorite bands? I see you like Osiko, The Cure, and Nine Inch Nails. Yeah, probably. In this podcast, maybe I will. Maybe I'll briefly mention them. I don't think if I do a video on my channel about my favorite bands, no one's gonna watch it. So I'd rather use a podcast like this. And that's it. That's all, people. That's all. Thank you very much. This was the very first episode of That JRPG Show, my own podcast. I'm going to try to make sure that the second episode includes my first guest. We'll see. I can't promise anything. It all depends on the people I ask. If one of them can make it, then I'll have a guest on my second episode. That's all for tonight, people. This was That JRPG Show. Your favorite host, Erick Landon RPG. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Share this video with your friends. Share the podcast. Show your love for the show. So I can keep making these shows. Next time, I'll let you know in the community section when my next show is going to be. Pay attention to the community section, alright? Probably next Sunday, I'll try my best, but I can't guarantee anything. But I'll settle down for a day and a time for every weekly JRPG show. That's all for tonight, people. Today, tonight, whatever. Thanks for watching.